Today's video is made possible by Panda Sups. Head over to pandasups.com and use promo code CHAT at checkout. You'll save 30% and get free shipping on all of their great vitamins and supplements. Now, on today's video, we're taking a look at Logan Ryan, the still free agent cornerback for the Tennessee Titans, I should say, coming off a very productive year for Tennessee. Statistically, one of the best years we saw out of a cornerback last year. Tons of tackles for loss, interceptions, pass breakups, forced fumbles, blah, blah, blah. Yet he remains unsigned with potentially limited interest really shown so far around the NFL. The initial reports when early in free agency is that he wanted $10 million. And nobody actually came very close to offering Ryan $10 million. Now we sit here in early August, training camps are underway, and he still remains unsigned. And this comes despite Ryan, according to the NFL Top 100 list, being a top 6 corner in the NFL, which is wrong. There's no way for me to get around. Like, look, the top 5 is fine of that list. You got Stephon Gilmore, okay, Sherman, Ramsey, White, Peters, whatever. Logan Ryan at 60, above guys like Marshawn Lattimore and Marlon Humphrey and Darius Slay, makes sense when you look at the raw statistical output that Ryan had this year. Well over 100 tackles. Had a couple sacks as well, some tackles for loss. He had 4 forced fumbles and 4 interceptions. That's 8 takeaways that Logan Ryan forced. And you're going, how is this dude unsigned? This guy should start for every team in the NFL. Well, he led the NFL in those stats. He also led the NFL in yards allowed in coverage, and that's bad. Nearly 1,000 Ryan allowed. There was no more targeted corner in the NFL than Logan Ryan in 2019. That, coupled with his high asking price, is why no one has signed Ryan at this point. Now, we're going to break down my top 6 destinations. Before we do, I want to hear from you guys. Where do you think Logan Ryan will sign? If you think you know the answer, I want you to scroll down to the pinned comment. I've made this question the pinned comment. So if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll down and cast your votes. All right, the Dolphins then at number 6. They were linked to Logan Ryan, so I wanted to include them here. There have been conflicting reports, though, on just how much interest that team actually had in adding Ryan. On one hand, they clearly love their corners, right? They are willing and able to invest repeatedly in the position, which for the record, I like. You can never have too many corners, and if Ryan wants to sign on the cheap, well, why not? I don't think Ryan wants to sign on the cheap, though, right now. And Ryan clearly wants to get paid and start, and that's tricky for me. Because Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, you are great on the outside, but Logan Ryan's a nickel corner anyway. Which is fine, except that I actually like Nick Needham. He's a really great number 4 for any team. And then Miami also spent a first-round pick on Noah Igbinoghene out of Auburn. So at that point, maybe Ryan's your number 3, but that means you're benching a first-round pick that maybe you don't want to bench, and you're never going to use Nick Needham unless there are injuries. So I'm actually not convinced that the Miami Dolphins need another cornerback. Let me know what you guys think. If you think that they do, type 1 for yes. If you think that they don't, I want you to type 0. Now, ESPN, they're kind of voting 0. They put out their top position units. Chargers at 1, Patriots at 2, Ravens at 3, and the Dolphins at number 4 among cornerbacks. And again, I'm inclined to agree. I'm a big Byron Jones fan. I like Xavier Howard. Between Nick Needham and Noah Igbinoghene, you're locked and loaded at 3 and 4, and there are very few teams that wouldn't want to trade their cornerback crop for what Miami has. They've invested heavily in it. I'm not convinced to go out and spend big money around. But again, cheap? Well, who knows at that point. Now, if you're like me, the quarantine 15 was real, huh? That's why I'm thankful for Panda Sup's fat burners helping me shed some of those extra pounds. They can help you out too. And they're going to get you 30% off if you use promo code CHAT at pandasups.com. The fat burners are exactly what they sound like. Take the supplement. They'll help you shed some of that extra weight. That link will be in the comments, and it will be in the description. Again, use that promo code CHAT at checkout to get the 30% off and the free shipping. The Arizona Cardinals check in at number 5 here. If they have a fully healthy Robert Alford, maybe they don't need Logan Ryan, right? Because you have Patrick Peterson, awesome. You're hopeful that Byron Murphy takes a big step forward in year 2. He was put in a really tough spot last year. I still have high hopes and expectations for his long-term future with Arizona. But Murphy and Ryan both have some nickel ability. But there's another argument in favor of Arizona beyond the, what if, Robert Alford is hurt / not healthy again. You have money to spend. Arizona's not paying their quarterback right now. They are not paying Kyler Murray very much because he's on that rookie scale contract. So if you got concerns about Robert Alford, or if maybe you're worried about Byron Murphy in his second year, because he wasn't great last year, be aggressive. Go out and sign a Logan Ryan, a 1-year deal. You'll still be fine with Byron Murphy long term. I am open to that idea. Maybe it's a path they choose, maybe it's not, but I did want to include Arizona. I also really had to include Carolina on here. This defense has been almost completely overhauled from the beginning of the 2019 season to where we are right now. They're thin at corner, although they did recently add Eli Apple, which I think kind of pulls Carolina down a spot or two in this destination list. Despite the addition of Eli Apple, you can make an argument Logan Ryan would be somewhere between the number 3 corner or even the number 1 corner on this Panthers team. Now, Dante Jackson's shown some real promise. Eli Apple is a classic veteran stopgap at best at number 2. I have some hope for Corn Elder. I don't know if you want to be really banking on Corn Elder, though, as the legitimate number 3 nickel corner for you. I would at least consider exploring adding Logan Ryan. So which team needs Logan Ryan the most? Is it Carolina, Arizona, Miami? Is it one of the teams we haven't yet mentioned? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. The Seattle Seahawks and Logan Ryan has been a popular mailbag question, been a popular rumor as well. I think it's a little bit less likely now that Quinton Dunbar appears set to play after all, which we'll get into more in depth here. However, nickel corner is still a concern, I believe, for the Seattle Seahawks. I think Logan Ryan would fit in perfectly there. You have Shaq Griffin, you have Quinton Dunbar on the outside. Now, maybe you could kick one of those guys on the inside to play Trey Flowers. We'll talk about him in a second, too. But Ryan is clearly better than Ugo Amadi. It's a matter of cost if they want to add a corner. Remember, this is a Seahawks team that ran less nickel than any team in the NFL. They loved their base set, and they didn't come out of it all that often, especially with other NFL teams. Now, for Dunbar, I was a huge fan of this move by Seattle. The charges, though, the armed robbery charges have been dropped against him, taken off the exemplets, which means he should play for them this year. So that gives you 2 really good corners, Dunbar and Griffin, who both can play in the nickel. The question is, do you want to move them in the nickel? And if you do want to move them in the nickel, do you trust Trey Flowers to handle that role? Now, the coverage stats last year, Ryan was targeted significantly more than Trey Flowers was. Yes, Ryan allowed more yards, and I made a note earlier in this video about how he allowed the most yards in the NFL. This does include some playoff stats for Trey Flowers, but that's concerning, right? Isn't that worrisome that Trey Flowers, who got worked against Green Bay, could still be the number 2 outside corner in nickel sets? So would you rather have Flowers as that number 4 backup corner? Would you want to make him the number 3? I think it's a discussion Seattle should be having, and I want to hear from you guys as well. Who's the better corner? Who would you rather have? You want Trey Flowers, type F. He could be your number 2 in nickel sets. Kick Dunbar, even Griffin, over to that nickel spot. Or do you want to sign Logan Ryan to be that nickel guy? If you do, type R. Now, today's show is brought to you by Panda Sups. I'm a big fan of their nootropics. Producer Dylan drinking some right now, so we don't make any mistakes during our show. They help keep you energized and focused. Think of it as a coffee or that soda replacement that's way healthier for you because, it's not ridiculously unhealthy because, oh boy, the coffee and soda is not good for you. Source, I drink a lot of soda. But not since I got the nootropics, right? They will save you 30% and get you free shipping if you use promo code CHAT at pandasups.com. That container's a pretty big one. It will last you over a month easily. Pandasups.com. Use that promo code CHAT. The New York Giants at number 2. We mentioned Quentin Dunbar, how he's going to be in the clear, it would appear. DeAndre Baker's not in the clear. He is still facing charges, still on the exempt list. I am not confident that New York is going to get DeAndre Baker this year. And they did invest at corners repeatedly in recent years. They still got some issues, right? So they signed James Bradbury, so that's one spot. You know, you're hopeful that maybe one of those young guys, maybe it's Darnay Holmes who could be a potential nickel corner for you as well. Maybe that's an option the Giants end up trying to pursue. You have Grant Haley who could be a nickel corner. Corey Ballantyne could fill that role for you. Maybe Julian Love moves back down from safety to corner, but all of a sudden it's thin, especially with Sam Beal opting out as well. So that's 2 spots the Giants are down. I think Ryan, even if he's just the nickel guy forward and you play a Haley or a Ballantyne on the outside, or you put Ryan on the outside, would greatly help a Giants team that needs it. We're going to stick in New York for the number 1 spot, the New York Football Jets. Remember, back in May, reportedly, they thought they were close to signing Logan Ryan. Then Logan Ryan goes on NFL Network and says, they make sense, but I'm still open for business. And now we're in August. It's still a fit, though, right? My biggest question, much like for the Giants, for the Jets here, is where do you play Logan Ryan? Now, I think Pierre Desir can handle one cornerbacker, although he's probably not a legit number 1. Brian Poole had a breakout year in the nickel role. That leaves Nate Harrison, Arthur Mallett, Quincy Wilson, Blesson Austin, all competing for CB2, and none of those players are great. So if I'm the Jets, I'm going to sign Ryan. Maybe I try him on the outside. If it's a 1-year deal for, let's just say, $5 million, I think that makes a lot of sense for both parties because, I'll tell you what, Logan Ryan, he ain't getting $10 million per year. So let's recap then my top destinations. The Jets and the Giants, the 2 New York teams, I guess New Jersey teams, but they come in at number 1 and number 2. The Seattle Seahawks, they check in here at number 3. The Panthers are at number 4. The Arizona Cardinals check in at number 5. And then the Miami Dolphins, they round things out here at number 6.